Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Odds here. It's Monday morning, and we've got another double header. It seems that all the games recently are both Raptors playing and G League Raptors 905 playing. So, yeah, lots of basketball to watch on every other day for Raptors fans. I think that the games tonight happen to kind of not totally overlap. So you could probably start watching the Raptors 905 game at 7:30. And then I think the Denver game is at 8:30. So there's a little bit of an hour overlap. So maybe you can you'll have to watch both for an hour at least. Maybe, I don't know. Good morning, Jimmy Pope. Good to see Jimmy in the comments first thing. Let's go. I woke up with a good feeling this morning. Let's give them the work, baby. Yeah, woo. Got that Ric Flair woo in this morning. Jimmy is feeling good. 100%. Yes, yes. Listen, I was doing my research about the Denver Nuggets yesterday, and I realized something about them. They are with the creme de la creme of the Western Conference. They win so much, y'all. They've won 12. They're 12 of their last 15 games, and they are a very serious team, and they're very, very good. And it's very hard to beat them. It's very, very tough to beat them. So listen, I would love to see us go above and beyond and beat the shit out of them today, because listen, it'll bring instant respect to the Raptors team all of a sudden. If we take out the top Western Conference team today, beat the Nuggets, this is going to be a huge, huge clout for us, as far as some of the haters in our nation will be like, okay, this is good. And, people will notice around the NBA. It'll be really good if we can go above and beyond and just excel and do something crazy tonight where we kick the Nuggets' butt and we show something. Because, listen, I want to tell y'all, when I was looking at them, they're not just winning. They are kicking the crap out of most teams that face them. It's not even close. Most of their wins are double digits by 15 points. And a lot of these games are not close. And the only team that has had success against them recently was the Memphis Grizzlies. And they really out rebounded them and just kind of bullied them and just, took more shots. That's another thing. Nuggets love to get a lot of shots. So these are a few of the keys to the win for today. We got to do what we normally do and manufacture more shots than the opponent. If we can get more field goal attempts on them, and then on top of that, we got to be making them, because we shot better in the last game. We got to continue to shoot better now. And if we can do that and out rebound them, I think we have a good chance to beat them. There's some things about us that kind of are good to go against the Nuggets. I think that our style and our build of our roster and the way we play is not totally easy for them. Like, they have a lot of these guards like KCP that kind of sit outside, Jamal Murray, and they don't have as many really big guys like us. So we should be able to do some interesting stuff with our length and versatility against them, I hope. So, but we'll have to see. Just a little bit of the keys to the win ahead of time. Get more shots, have less turnovers, get more rebounds, and make more shots. That should all be a winning recipe. It's going to be tough no matter what. But if anybody can go above and beyond out of the blue and beat a team like the Denver Nuggets, it's the Toronto Raptors. We know the history of them doing this in the last few years. Well, we haven't had many of these above and beyond victories this season where we took on an opponent that we have no business beating. Well, tonight's the night. Let's have one of those tonight. Let's see. Mike is here. Logical Raptors fanatics. Salute the real ones. Project Truth always. Yes, Mike. Project Truth always and forever. Seriously, because we got to keep telling the truth, because there's a lot of motherfucking liars out there. In fact, I have something I want to talk about real quick on Instagram. I got added as a follow. Somebody is following me, and I was like, oh, who's following me? I got up this morning, I looked, and it's Dumberdon1, and I'm like, wait, is Delano following me on Instagram? That's amazing. I mean, my name is Raptors Freak on Instagram. And I was like, maybe he's following me. And then I went to, you got to really do this. You got to suss out profiles and figure out if they're the real thing. And, well, it's a clone site to Delano. It has all the same pictures, the same name, except the name's slightly changed. But I was like, what's wrong with this profile? He only has 14 followers, and he's following 374 people, and I'm one of them. Yeah, be wary of fake accounts. So I just got followed by fake Delano this morning. So yeah, be wary of fake accounts. Project Truth, always. That's right. Naco the Nacho is here. Good to see you, Gerald. Jokic is top 2 in the league, and he's great for similar reasons to Pascal. We win this, we make a statement. That is for sure. We win this, we make a big statement, Naco, and I'm all about making statements. Oh, I'm all about making statements against the possible 3-time MVP in a row against this team with Aaron Gordon, this punk ass Aaron Gordon. I've always been annoyed by him. KCP, who's on my fantasy team, he's quite a good shooter. Of course, Canada's own Jamal Murray. Yeah, we love to see Jamal Murray, and he's got some real gumption these days. He's been talking trash and playing really well at times. But of course, we'll have to see Nick Nurse and Jamal interact there. Michael's here. Good to see Michael once again. I think we might get smacked tonight. Whoa, laugh out loud. Yeah, well, we'll have to see. Listen, I want them to give them a good competition, and let's open the realm of possibility that we can make some amazing things happen tonight and get some respect and get some clout around this league by beating the number 1 team in the Western Conference. I know by all intents and purposes, you look at the paper, you look at the standings, you look at the things that are going on with the teams. Yeah, it looks like we'll probably get beaten, but I don't know if that's for sure. That's the crazy thing about this team. I really love the Raptors, and I've been following them for a long, long, long time. And this has some sort of weird written all over it that we could actually kick their ass tonight. Trust me. Seriously, this is a weird thing. Like, I see the trend of them gelling a little bit better and getting better recently, the Raptors. And I see this whole idea that, like, okay, everybody's going to count us out in this game. And maybe even the Nuggets will show up and they won't have the right intensity. In fact, Michael Malone said the last time they lost to the Memphis Grizzlies, they didn't come with the right intensity. And the way that the Grizzlies beat them was coming with a playoff intensity. And that the Nuggets didn't come in as serious. And that's how they beat them. So hopefully this can kind of happen. Apparently the Nuggets are having playoff intensity games over and over again since then, because he's demanded his team to come out with a playoff intensity. And they have. And they've shown up and won. And in fact, they beat the Memphis Grizzlies the next time they played them. So this is something we're going to have to do tonight. We're going to definitely have to have a playoff intensity if we're going to want to beat the number 1 team in the Western Conference tonight. It looks so good if we beat them. Listen, we could hang them with their 15th loss. That's right. They've only lost 14 times this season. They really are in another level above everybody else in the Western Conference. They are the number 1 legitimate Western team. Now, are they built for the playoffs? I don't know. Sometimes you can be the number 1 regular season team and doesn't mean jack shit when you get to the postseason. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. All right, let's see. Shir Khan's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Question for everyone. How can we limit Jokic's playmaking ability tonight? Murray is a good number 2, but we can limit his production if we keep the ball away. Rap's turnover game has to be in full effect. Yeah, totally. That is a huge key to the win for me, is getting those turnovers off of them. And you know what? To tell you the truth, if I remember correctly from the game last year that we played in Denver, we had good success with this. Exactly, Shir Khan, that we were very much agitators. I don't know. If I remember correctly, we really did kind of hurt Jokic last year. Like, we were able to defend him, I guess, with all of our different kind of looks and people coming at him. And it's interesting because we got Poeltl now, Jakob, that can kind of face up with him one-on-one in certain ways that may be easier than us having to shadow double him. So I don't know how it's going to go with him. The one thing I do know is Nick Nurse loves the challenge of trying to deal with somebody like Nikola Jokic, and that he's going to be scheming and bringing some very interesting things. It'll be really fun to see how Nick tries to tackle this task that you put in front of us this morning, Shir Khan. How do you limit Jokic's playmaking? And then how do you shut down guys like Murray? Well, we could probably shut down Murray with OG. But then, you go and you look at what you got to do with Jokic. You got to do a couple different things probably to limit him. In some ways, it's like, do you do the philosophy of not even letting him get the ball? Like, we do that sometimes, where we really focus on somebody and deny them getting the ball in their hands at any time. That may have been a little bit of what we did last year, I think, from what I remember. But yeah, you want to limit touches. maybe that may be part of how you try and like stop Jokic or slow him down. You limit the ball getting in his hands in the first place if you can. Let's see. Mike is saying, I heard that Poeltl is really good against Jokic. Poeltl was in the West for years where Jokic was. Yeah, he has a lot of experience with him at this point. Being in San Antonio, playing Jokic 3 or 4 times every season, that is a plus for sure. And I mean, really, I think it's better to have a one-on-one guy for him in some ways. And maybe Poeltl's smart enough to kind of understand some of his crafty tricks. I don't know. I'm hoping that these are things that can materialize and happen tonight. Tom Duke is here. Good to see West Coast. Tom Duke is in the house. Victoria, BC's in the house. Here will be in the house in a couple of weeks. Tom will be here in 2 weeks or so. Let's see. Yak needs to play 43 minutes. 43 minutes, Tom. Holy crap. The Bucks won last night. Giannis got his triple double at the very end of the game by passing it to himself off the backboard with 1 second left. Let's get that W. Good morning. Yes. Yeah, I saw that cheap way that Giannis got his triple double last night, but I was like, you know what? I can't hate on that. In some ways, he gets so many. He needs to get them. And like, I mean, it is cheap and it is kind of whack. And then sometimes I'm surprised the NBA counted it because when I looked at it, that didn't really look like a full shot. It kind of looked like he just threw it up in the air and caught it real quick or something like that. I don't know. If I was the NBA scorekeeper, I may go scrutinize it after the fact, and maybe they take it back and take it away from him like they did to Pascal that time when we played Milwaukee last season and he got a triple double, but then they went and looked back at the footage and they saw a team rebound between him and Chris Boucher and they took away his triple double against Milwaukee last season. Maybe they'll do that to Giannis. Maybe they'll be like, yeah, you can't have that last rebound. That was cheap. Could be, Tom. I don't know. But yeah, that was funny. And the Bucks did win again last night. They had lost to Philadelphia and ended their winning streak on Saturday. Well, they bounced back and beat the Wizards last night. Let's see. Nako's saying, I'm picking Nuggets or Suns to make it out of the West. Interesting. You know, that was an interesting game yesterday. Kyrie versus Kevin with their new teams. And the Dallas Mavericks really do not have any defense. They're in big trouble. That is going to be a big, huge fail. And Kyrie's going to be leaving this summer. It's going to be a really bad taste in his mouth. It's going to be like an express Kyrie stop where it's kind of like, all right, he's pissed off Boston. He's pissed off Brooklyn. He's pissed off pretty much every team he's ever played for. And now he's going to stop through Dallas and probably piss them off in less than half a season and then be gone in the summer. It's like Kyrie's doing this express pissing off work right now with Dallas. Yeah, there was a little bit of a get in the face between Luka and Devin Booker. Very interesting stuff. And Devin Booker says he's not friends with him anymore. It's not no funny games anymore. This is serious. But yeah, Mavericks lost. Suns won. You know, I still don't believe in the Suns, though, Nako. I really don't. They have a similar problem. They're on the sliding scale of things. Dallas is worse with their defense. But Phoenix isn't far from them either. Jimmy saying, I predict a lot of ball denying for Jokic. Scotty was excellent doing that last year. Yeah, and I'll bet you Scotty gets up for this Denver game because Jokic is a big name. And he last year he was all about seeing the big superstars and playing against them. So I think that was part of the reason why we beat Denver last year was because some of the guys on our team really get up for them. And then the other factor, of course, this time around, other than having Jakob, is Will Barton. So we'll have to see how much Will Barton helps or plays in this game and see how much he contributes to scoring and doing things. Hopefully he has a really big game tonight. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Free crew. I have been watching all the games for a while. I noticed Pascal is double, triple teamed because we have no consistent number two that is a threat. Other teams have a lethal number one and number two that splits defense. Yeah, I could get behind this, Cool Cat. I can see where this is. I mean, in some ways, they do really kind of have to, respect Fred or Gary in this kind of way. But because there's no clear cut, I guess you're right. But it is true. There definitely always is the focal point of other teams' defense is Pascal. And it just has to be that way. He's so unstoppable in so many ways. They have to get ready for him in that way. He just demands it with his offensive arsenal and how he can get through defenses and just slither through like water through the cracks. And he's laying it in. Yeah. So that's respect. But I'm getting from your comment, Cool Cat, that you would like somebody to step up and be a very clearly defined two so that they can take some of the heat off of them. Yeah, I'd love to see that too. Maybe OG gets more consistent like he was at times earlier in the season, and that makes it more harder. Maybe, I don't know, Gary's very consistent this year. In some ways, they really do have to respect him. But the way they have to guard him probably isn't as serious. They can probably not have to double him. I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully, guys just step up and this happens naturally, what you're describing. Tom's saying, I thought it was funny. And yeah, I was just surprised it counted in the box score. This isn't the first time players have done this, Tom. These players that want to pad their stats to get the triple double. I mean, there's the funny one with way back where I think it was J.R. Smith or Isaiah Ryder or somebody like that. They actually threw the basket on their own goal and just to get an extra rebound. It wasn't even that they were shooting on the goal they were supposed to. They shot a basket on, and it would have gone in. It would have scored against his team, but just so he could get the rebound right at the end of the game. And it was so cheesy. And it was even cheesier because it was on the opposite basket. Like I said, it's crazy. Logical saying, we are the team that gets Jokic fuming. He starts being cheap and nasty. We definitely limit his catches and plays he likes. Salute Cool Cat. FYI, I gave you credit for your Poeltl free throw description being better. There you go. Yeah, I mean, seriously, I want to see him continue to make these free throws. It's fantastic if he's gotten better at the free throw line. That is so good for the Raptors. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Shir Khan saying it, Tom Duke. Yeah, I saw that thing with Giannis, but it's not his fault. That's how the talking heads on TV compare great players. He's playing their game. KD versus Kyrie was fun. Dallas chose the wrong dude. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is true. And this is one of the things with Pascal that I get upset about. He leaves so many close triple doubles on the table in games. Like Pascal will be like 2 assists away or 1 rebound away from a triple double, just like Giannis was yesterday. And he doesn't get aggressive to try and get it or hunt it. And in some ways, that'll do a disservice for his career and his legacy. You need to get those triple doubles so your resume looks better, Pascal, down the road, so that they can look at you for Hall of Fame. They can look at you for different accolades later on or compare your career to other people. You want to have those. And if you have a whole bunch of like just barely triple doubles, they won't count for anything, Siakam. So I want you to seriously, even though it seems a little selfish and not really team oriented, Kyle was always able to triple double hunt on his own during the game. And it's crazy. If Kyle's able to incorporate getting triple doubles in the game naturally by just being smart and how he plays, why can't you, Siakam? Because I want you to get more accolades and more shine for what you're doing out there. And achieving the triple doubles, like Mike says, is important. It's very important. Let's see. Or Shir Khan saying it. Yeah. Troy Henry is here. Good to see Troy. I hope Ja gets the help he needed, and I think he might be out for more than 2 games because it's under investigation now. Yeah, this is really bad. Like he went a little bit too far, and it sucks, man. It sucks because, like, listen, all right, the gun thing isn't the thing that is the problem. That's suspending him for 2 games. It's the investigations from last summer that are going to be the big problem because he may have legal trouble real quick, and it could very well be that he has to do jail time. So we'll have to see how this all pans out. Like Memphis's season has just got derailed. And I feel really bad for that team and that fan base because they were rolling. They had so many good things going for them. And now he's suspended. Dylan Brooks got suspended for his technical. And now Brandon Clark, another great Canadian, is hurt and out. And they've already had Steven Adams out. And they're just playing with like half their team right now. And it's just not good for them. I feel real bad for the Grizzlies and their fans. Now, speaking of the Grizzlies, I finally watched the Grizzly Truth yesterday, the documentary about the Vancouver Grizzlies and why they left. And I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic documentary. Monique's friend that made that documentary, Kat, is very, very good, a talented filmmaker. And I really enjoyed the way she told the story of what happened with the Vancouver Grizzlies. It's fantastic. A lot of it I already knew. But it was very illuminating to hear stuff from the words from the mouth of Stu Jackson, Steve Francis, and various other Vancouver Grizzly players and other people like the owner and different people. It's very, very interesting documentary, and I very much enjoyed it. I think the message at the end of it, I don't totally want to give it away, is the right message. And that, listen, just because that team went to Memphis doesn't mean that that's not Vancouver's team still. And that people that don't root for the Memphis Grizzlies because the team left Vancouver, you're missing out on a great opportunity to still root for your team, even if they're not in the same city. In a lot of ways, the people in Memphis really do recognize the history of that team starting in Vancouver, and they really do honor it in the proper way. So I just love the whole ending of that movie and how she comes to her conclusions about what happened with the Grizzlies. So I highly recommend The Grizzly Truth on Crave right now in Canada. If you want to watch it, it's about 2 hours and it's just fantastic. I can't believe the interviews she got. She talked to pretty much every important Grizzly that ever played for that franchise, as far as Sharif Abdur-Rahim, Big Country, George Lynch, Byron Scott, and she even talked to Steve Francis. And the thing about talking to Steve Francis about this movie was very interesting. He said he wanted to clear the air and all this stuff about what happened with him in Vancouver and why he didn't want to come here. And he was very honest, but still, Steve, you're an asshole, bro. It doesn't matter what you're saying in that and all this kind of stuff. You're still an idiot and an asshole about how things went down. Seriously. And that it was a big part of the reason why that team failed, is that your decision to not come here tainted the team with a really bad kind of thing, and it hurt them. And that is, I blame Steve Francis, honestly. I in some ways I blame the owner, the Heisley guy, but I don't blame Stu Jackson. I really, really don't. Although, the team was really badly run when he was running it. He did not help. But I do blame Steve Francis because he was kind of the catalyst for people really like sullying and souring the Grizzlies. Now, there's a couple of things about the documentary I didn't like. They paint us in a bad way. I don't like how they treated the Raptors or Raptors Nation in Grizzly Truth. They made us seem like pretentious city folk that are assholes. Like Cabby was not necessary to be on that documentary with what he said, and I just feel like that was bullshit, that you had to put us in there in that way. Because listen, we're your brother franchise that was in the league, and don't be upset because we survived and y'all didn't. And there's no reason to make us look bad in that documentary, the Raptors. And I got kind of pissed off about that at a certain point. They tried to paint us as this, and they even talked to John Batove, and they asked him, do you think the Raptors would have gone the way of the Grizzlies if they didn't get Vince? And he said, I think so. And I'm like, I fucking hate that too. I don't believe that shit either. I don't fucking believe that shit either. I think the Raptors were going to be here no matter what. And it didn't matter if fucking Vince came or not. We were going to be successful and we were going to find a superstar, whether it was Vince or not. And, I didn't like Batove, somebody who was in the very original ownership group, predicting that we wouldn't have survived either. But it was a very illuminating documentary. I don't like how they treated Raptors Nation in it. But I like the whole other part of it with the Vancouver stuff. And like seeing the old players and her talking to them was really cute and fun. And there's a lot about it that's good. But I seriously, you shouldn't have been fucking talking shit about Raptors Nation, though. There's no reason for you to do that in the Grizzly Truth. Seriously. All right, let me see what else you guys are saying here. Let's see. G saying apparently Ja brought a gun on a plane and may be facing a 50-plus game suspension now. Man, seriously, this is just crazy. There goes the season. No way. Yeah, the dummy. Everybody's saying he's a dummy. Yeah, well, listen, you got to learn tough lessons sometimes when you're a kid, when you're young. And it's just too bad that it seems like his parents aren't very mature themselves. And that is the leadership, or like they need that, like, to show him, how to live better. And I guess they're not encouraging him the right way. And maybe because there's no real vets on that team, like older players on that team that will step in and give them advice, there's just a vacuum of nobody being able to tell Ja Morant, you're fucking up your life, that he'll listen to. So, yeah, hopefully there is somebody stepping into that role somehow, some way around him. So we'll have to see. That is nuts. See, I thought most of the stuff that he's dealing with is all from last summer. But if he has another recent thing and charges are stacking up, yeah, he's an issue. He's a problem. And that sucks. I feel really bad for Grizzlies fans. Paul B saying Scotty versus Jokic was such a great game last year. Ready to put on a show tonight. Yeah, maybe Scotty will get up for this one. I really hope so. That'd be really awesome. Monique saying, good morning to Superfan Monique. Good morning, everyone, and happy game day. Let's try and start this West Coast trip off strong. Go Raptors. We want to get 2 out of 3. So if we don't win tonight, we want to win both the games against LA. So I think we can. I think we can. Honestly, there's some interesting things going on with both of the Los Angeles teams. But I'd love to win the game in Denver first, and then it makes it easier. If we just split one of the LA games, I'm happy. But if we sweep, hey, I ain't got no problem with sweeping all 3 games. That's nice too. Let's see. Fiercey's here. Good to see Fiercey Salsera. Good morning, family. Looking forward to the game later. High energy from the team, please. Hope Nick Nurse throws away his playbook and switches things around because it looks like it's been decrypted. Yeah, Fiercey saying people figured out Nick Nurse and his what he's doing with his play style, but maybe not the Denver Nuggets because we don't play them very often. And I don't know. I have a weird feeling that we're one of these weird teams that just really can match them and get at them and hurt them in certain ways in this league. It may be partly the matchups. It may be that we just got their number. I don't know. I want to start building a narrative like this, a thought that, yeah, we just match up real well and we beat their ass. And that's what we're going to do tonight. Yeah, that's what I want to see. If he's a little bit like different with his schemes or maybe his rotations, I'm okay with that. I just want to see something good happening, how he deals with Jokic. Jokic is really a big issue to handle. And hopefully Nick can have good success this season also, just like last season. High energy is definitely something good. I mean, you're going to be going that mile high air where it's thin. And you gotta like be conditioned, strong, and smart, Raptors, because you're playing in a very tough air condition of thin air. And so be on top of things and get out there and get going. Logical saying Morning pulled the same thing in a sense to us. You're saying Alonzo Mourning. When he got traded here. He got in the Vince trade, didn't want to come, but later signed with the Heat and helped them get their first chip with Wade, Shaq, and Mourning. Yeah, there's some things in this documentary that they don't talk about us, but we went through the same shit that Vancouver went through. They talked about us not being allowed to draft people in the first few years. Like we could have drafted Allen Iverson. We had the number 1 pick. And they don't talk about us and our situation, but they definitely talk about how it hurt the Vancouver Grizzlies. But everybody conveniently forgets that the Raptors had a detriment. And this is the funny, weird, fishy thing about it. In that Grizzly truth, they say that they tried it just for the Canadian franchises when they came in expansion. And David Stern thought it was too unfair for the Canadian teams after they went through it and tried it. And they never did it again. So the expansion teams that have come since our teams didn't have to go through the same thing. So we're very special in that way. Other than being the Canadian teams, we're the only expansion teams in the history of the NBA that have had this stipulation about not being able to get high draft picks like they had in the first few years. That's fucked up. And in some ways, that's the most clear and blatant unfairness for Canadian teams in the NBA that you can point to that is just true. There's no ifs, ands, or buts that is completely unfair how they did that to us. And and then you add in the whole stigma of being here. Look, the way that the Grizzlies lost in Vancouver, the way they were the laughing stock, the way that Francis declined coming there, it really tainted us also and hurt our franchise also. Because in some ways, idiots in America do not understand that Canada is like a big place with a lot of cities, and they just lump us together. And they just thought everything that happened with Vancouver happened with us too, because some fans just lump that as one franchise, the Grizzlies and the Raptors. And so everything that was tarnished about them in some ways bled onto us also. And we got the same shit. Like nobody wants to go to Vancouver. All they do is lose. Well, they were saying the same damn shit about us at that time back then. And I hated it. And I hated in some ways that Vancouver was so weak and they made us look bad and by a proxy. And I hated that in some ways. I loved the Vancouver Grizzlies being in the league. I wanted them to succeed. But in some ways, them not being around and making us look bad in some ways is better for the Raptors. Like as much as us getting separated from the Leafs and Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment by Tim Lewicki was helpful for our team, The Grizzlies going away from Vancouver actually was helpful for the Raptors also. And I know a lot of Vancouver fans may be upset to hear me say that, but it's true that y'all were like making us look bad as a team, the two Canadian teams. Like, and it was harder for us to get legitimacy and look good in the league with y'all around stinking it up. So, once again, they talk about, well, can they get a team back? I don't think so. I think that they won't. And I think that it's very clearly put in there that there is probably not a very good chance they will. I don't think that we will get another Canadian team at all. And I don't think that there'll actually be any expansion in the NBA anytime soon anyway. So, but if there is going to be, I would say it needs to be Montreal. Montreal is just the best market. And it would just be smart to have the Montreal Toronto Canadian rivalry as much better than Vancouver versus Toronto. I'm sorry, it just is. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying in here. We'll start getting into the meat of the preview, all the different things I do, like the injury report and stuff like that. That's true, Mike. That Alonzo Mourning not reporting is exactly like Steve Francis. And in some ways, that was worse because we were getting a huge asset for a huge asset, not really like a draft pick just not showing up. And yeah, it's all bullshit. Everybody who did that is a fucking asshole to me. Alonzo Mourning, Steve Francis, fuck off, both of y'all. Seriously, Steve Francis, I didn't like you anymore from watching the Grizzly Truth. You don't really take any ownership for it other than you say, oh, this is what I thought. And this is what I wanted to go to Chicago. I didn't want to go to Canada. And then I came in and I just handled it wrong and all this kind of stuff. I understand, but there's way better ways to go about things in some ways. And your franchise, your franchise like moniker is so ironic considering that you kind of destroyed a franchise, that you're called Stevie Franchise, and you fucking destroyed an NBA franchise in a way. Let's see. Jimmy saying, but he looks cool though. Laughing my ass off. What is he doing? Oh, Jaw? I don't know if he looks cool. I don't think he looks cool. He looks stupid to me. Like, seriously, who thinks he looks cool? I watched the Grizzly Truth yesterday, and at the very end, there's a kid who's a Memphis Grizzlies fan, and he's such a cute kid, and he talks about going to games with his dad. I'm like, Ja Morant, you're influencing little 10-year-old kids like him. So get your fucking act together with this gun lie bullshit and stop influencing the youth of Memphis that's that life. Fuck that shit. You are a role model and you need to realize it. I seen little Grizzly fans on the Grizzly Truth, and I'm like, you are influencing these kids, Ja Morant, and so you need to be a better role model to these kids. Seriously, it's really messed up. Nameless is saying Raptors are about to steal a game in Denver tonight, and we're all going to wake up happy. Yeah, I want to kick their ass tonight, and I want to have the most fun on this stream tomorrow, like a badass, like a Raptor Freak family party tomorrow. I want to party on this channel tomorrow with y'all at 9:30 after we beat Denver's ass tonight. Yeah, because nobody's seeing this coming. We're gonna come and get this, just like Jaws in the water. Donna, 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 Donna. Denver may be taking us lightly. Seriously, they're like looking at our record. They may be like, yeah, Raptors. Maybe they won't take us seriously, and we'll come out there and get the jump on them and fuck them up. Alistair saying Raptors need another center off the bench to anchor our second unit. Yeah, well, the guy in the picture of my stream today is our second bench, is our bench center. That's Precious Achua. And he's effective. I mean, listen, this is crazy, Alistair. Think about this. We didn't even have Yak a month ago. And now we've got a center. You're greedy. You want to get another one. We've been doing this shit with smoke and mirrors and no center for a while. And now we get a center. And Alistair's like, I want another one. Well, Konono is here, actually. And in fact, let me do this first. Let's do the preview for the G League Ignite are here in Mississauga to play the Raptors 905 today. We got a nice little graphic of Kyler Kelly is the poster boy for the game tonight. March 6th, 7:30, Paramount Fine Food Center. G League Ignite versus Raptors 905 tonight. This is going to be fun. The G League Ignite is a cool team. They've got like one vet. I think it's like Amir Johnson. And then they've got Leonard Miller, who's a Canadian stud, the 6'9" kid who looks very good. He looks like he's very much a prototype Vision 6'9" kind of player. And then you got Scoot Henderson. So this will be an entertaining game for the 905 at 7:30 tonight. Our referees for the game are John Conley is the crew chief, and I actually have the stats on John Conley real quick. He's in his second season as an NBA ref, but this is a G League ref tonight. He's from Orlando. He likes the TV show Even Stevens. His favorite musician is do you remember the time? Do you remember the time when we first met? Michael Jackson. His favorite book is Be the Pack Leader. His favorite movie is that one with Jim Carrey and Lauren Holly and Jeff Daniels, and they're really stupid in it. They are so stupid. They're like, kick his ass, Seabass. Dumb and Dumber. He'd most like to visit Australia. He'd like to skydive in Dubai. His hidden talent is dog training, and his favorite meal is potatoes and pasta. So we need some potatoes and pasta for the crew chief at the G League game, John Conley, today. The other two refs are Jenna Renault and Catherine Chang. So that's our ref crew for G League at night at Raptors 905 in Mississauga tonight. Now, there is an injury on the list for the Raptors 905, Delano Banton day to day. So maybe he is adding me on Instagram because he's not playing these days and he has time. No, that's a fake account. So if you get added by Dubberdon1 on Instagram, that's a fake account of Delano Banton. That's right. Let's see. Mike is saying that kind of had an effect on the Bosch era, and Bosch is thinking of Toronto could get anyone. So no one wanted to come here, so we left. We survived it by making good lower than first picks. Mighty, Grady, VC. Mighty, you call him just Mighty? You mean Damon Stoudemire? Mighty. Listen, and you call him Grady. It's not just Grady, it's McGrady. Mike. No, this is very true what Mike's saying. Like that whole thing with Alonzo and the way that the Vince Carter trade went down, Bosch was on the team already, and he saw like the Williams guys show up, Eric and Aaron, and nobody else, and how bad the team got. And then he lost total confidence in the front office of our team. But it was so early in his career, he couldn't do anything at the time. And he did stick around for a while after that. And in some ways, I got to give Chris Bosh credit because he did give it a little bit of time. But in some ways also, he didn't stay true to us. But it is part of the fallout of the damage from things like Alonzo Mourning and the Vince Carter trade was Chris Bosh not buying into the Raptors franchise as well as he could. And this is something that informs us as to reasons why we need to have a capable front office to keep players like Scotty Barnes in our jersey. That, you know, if we don't make good moves like going and getting Jakob, and he doesn't feel like Masai and Bobby have the best interests and are capable at their jobs, Scotty may leave partly because of that. And I don't think he will because of that. Because honestly, I think he very much believes in Masai. You saw him at an All-Star saying, "I love you, Masai." And Masai said, "I love you, Scotty," on the Open Gym episode. So I think he very much trusts our front office, unlike Chris Bosh did back when he played for us. So that is important. Trust in the front office to do good things and make the team improve over time. Let's see. G saying we have Jakob and Scotty for Joker, OG for Murray. We might match up really well with them. I think we do on the down low. Actually, we really do. So it'll be fun. They're a little bit shorter on the wings. And that's the thing. They got the big guy in the middle, and then they got little shorter guys on the wings. We know Murray's not a huge guy. And in some ways, we have guys who can guard him really well. I think Gary can guard Murray pretty good, too, in some ways. Jimmy's saying that was sarcasm, Lex. Okay, the part, but he looks cool. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't read sarcasm really well. I really don't, Jimmy. It's funny. Okay, yeah, but he looks cool. Yeah, I don't know. Our gun's cool. They're not cool if you're losing millions of dollars in your career in the face of being the league of the NBA. You know, it's like, that's not cool. Let's see. G saying, wow, did not know, though. So we got a chip just being 27 years old with those stipulations. We should be very grateful, to be honest. Yeah, it's serious. Our arms were tied behind our back the whole 90s. We were not allowed to be a regular franchise in this league. We had all these crazy rules. That was part of the package to be able to be in the league, is that we had to agree to these things. And they really did not allow us. If we're going to have the worst record, we couldn't have a top 3 pick. We only could have like the top, I think it was 4 or 5 or something. The top 3 picks we couldn't land in on the lottery. And the reason why they did this is Shaq's fault. It's Shaq's fault. The Orlando Magic were an expansion team in 1989, and they turned around and they got the first pick after not being very good, and they got Shaq within first 2 years of their existence, and they got the finals in like their first 5 years. So the NBA owners were like, yeah, we can't have young upstart expansion teams coming in and shaking the balance of the league so quickly. So they put a cap on us, the next crop that came in as expansion teams, just because Shaq got the pick by number one by the Orlando Magic. And then they turned around and got Penny for the number one pick also. So they stacked their team right away, the Magic, and they were badasses, and the rest of the league didn't like it. So they said, we can't have this happen again. So they made all these new rules for the next expansion. That was us. And then they took all the rules away on this next time for the next expansion. So we were the only expansion teams that had to go through those extra rules, the two Canadian franchises. It's crazy. And you're right. It is very impressive that we've got a championship. The Orlando Magic still don't. And they got that fast track with Shaq and Penny, and they still don't have a championship. The Phoenix Suns do not have a championship. There are so many teams in this league that do not have championships, and they've been around forever. The Kings, I think they do technically. The Clippers don't have a championship. There's so many different teams. The Nets do not have a championship. I could go over the list of more and more teams. The Hornets, they don't have a championship. There's a lot of teams. They've been around longer than us. They don't have championships. Monique saying, I'm happy to keep up with the NBA standings. Raptors are in a good spot. Judy Heumann, we love you. Kat Jamie is awesome. So are these women that are going to be calling the game? I know we have a women's game for 905 coming up very soon, where there's going to be a ladies crew calling the game, all ladies crew for 905 game. I think it's on the 8th. So maybe it's not this game today, but the next game on Wednesday will be a all-lady broadcast. That'll be fantastic. You go, Monique. Yes, let's go. Women's Month, March, baby. Let's go. All right, let's see. Logical saying we have actually had an all-star guy in all the years, not two all-stars, really till DeRozan and Lowry. So it's mighty into Vince, into Bosch, into DeRozan, Siakam. All right, Mike, you have weird nicknames for people. You're just calling him Mighty. I don't like that. Just call him Damon. Just say Damon. His name is Damon. Into Siakam. It works timeline-wise, overlapping. Yeah, we did have Bosch overlapped into DeRozan, and DeRozan overlapped into Kyle. Kyle overlapped into Fred and Siakam. And yeah, they've all overlapped into each other. I mean, Damon wasn't here when Vince got here, but Alvin was. So Alvin kind of overlapped into Vince. Yeah, that's just how it is. Callie saying, what do you think about Precious lately? Good to see you, Callie. I think that he's had a little bit of struggles on the offensive end, but his defense has looked okay the last game or so. I think that if he concentrates on the rebounding and the defense first, he can get out of the slump with the offense stuff. It's not really that he's in a slump. It's just that he's not getting the production that he had before Jakob showed up. And I think that that's a big part of it, is that in the past, he was a really big-time rebounder for us. Well, in some ways, the need for him to rebound as crazy is not there because Jakob's swallowing up a lot of the rebounds. So in some ways, he's displaced partly some of Achua's duties and what he's been doing. But in some ways, it's not really a good excuse because he's playing opposite of Poeltl. He should be out there when he's not out there, so he should be collecting all the rebounds still when he's out there. But his numbers have gone down since Poeltl showed up. And that's the thing I noticed. And in some ways, I think it is because maybe Poeltl's swallowing up some of the rebounds. I don't know. Precious has got to work on first defense and rebounding first, and the offensive stuff will come afterwards. But if he just plays solid defense, Nick will continue to play him. And I want to see him getting those rebounds. If he can get some double-digit rebound games again very soon, that would be very good. But I think Jakob showing up is kind of hurt Precious indirectly for his stats. Does that make sense, Callie? Jimmy's saying, all good, Lex. Impossible to tell over text. Yeah, and you know what? I don't read you as a sarcastic voice. I don't think I've ever actually read you as being sarcastic before, too. Like if it was a part of your characteristics, like your personality, and I read over time, like, oh, okay, Jimmy's kind of sarcastic sometimes. I'll put that in your character profile. Like seriously, I get to know all y'all and you kind of your voice and your style and what how you feel. Like some of you guys are more optimistic and some of you guys are more pessimistic. And I really keep track of this. Like you guys aren't just names on the screen to me. I get to know y'all's personalities. And I love that about it. I really do. Fiercey saying, I'm currently away in Orlando, March break. Oh, you lucky duck. Fiercey's down south in Orlando, but still stream you every morning, Lex and fam. Gotta thank you for the great conversations. Gotta go now, but let's go Raps. Have fun down in the Sunshine State and down in Orlando. That's fantastic, Fiercey. You have a fantastic March break. Well earned, I'm sure, from all the hard work and things you're doing all the time with whatever you're doing with school or work or whatever you're doing these days. Yeah, logical saying 95 draft. It was no 1 through 5 pick. Then in 96, 97, 98, it was just no number 1 pick. Kind of talked on it. We survived by hitting on majors on the mighty 6 pick. Mighty. He's still saying the mighty. And McGrady. There's a Mick on there. VC were both lower than top 3 picks. Oh my gosh, Mike. Yeah, well, I like the history of the beginning part that we couldn't have the 1 through 5 pick in the 95 draft. The very first draft, we could not pick 1 through 5. We had to pick 6 as the closest. And that's actually where we picked. And that's when we got Damon. And then 96, 97, 98, we weren't allowed to have the first pick. And we actually did win the first pick. The lottery ball came out of the machine for Raptors to have the number 1 pick in the 98 draft. And that would have been Allen Iverson. That was the mess. That was the fucked up thing that happened to us, that we could not get Allen Iverson in 1998 and Philadelphia got him instead. But we technically had won that lottery. And they said, nope, they can't have it because of the rule. They can't have the number 1 pick. Isn't that fucked up? And we ended up picking second, and that was Marcus Camby. So yeah, it was pretty messed up. Really, really messed up. All right, let's keep going. G saying, this is what the international tankers need to think about. Keeping players loyal to the team is hard enough. Now ask them to intentionally suck so their stats and accomplishments go down. That is not good. That is a fantastic argument to frame against the tankers. Is like, listen, you think Scotty's going to want to hang around while we're losing all these games and stuff like that? You're an idiot. Seriously, he does not want to hang around and lose on purpose. What does that learn him or make him feel like he's doing with his career, wasting his time? So, yeah, that is such a great point and counterpoint for people that are into us tanking. Monique is saying Judy Heumann. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay, Monique, I'm glad you reminded me. That's right. I did see your post on Instagram about Judy Heumann, who is an activist for disabled rights in the United States. And she, very, very important activist in the 60s and 70s into the 80s for getting the ADA Act in the United States. Such an amazing person. She passed away this weekend. And you can see her featured in the documentary Crip Camp. This was a documentary that Monique suggested to me last year and that I watched because of her suggestion and got to know who Judy was. And she's an amazing leader. In fact, I'm stealing something from her on this channel. The one thing that Judy always made sure happened in her meetings with everybody at this camp that they did was she wanted to make sure everybody got a chance to speak. And that is something, that philosophy that I like to have here on my channel, that everybody has a chance to speak. And we stay here the whole time until everybody gets that chance to speak. But yeah, I was sad to hear about her passing, Monique. Rest in peace. Rest in power. Judy Heumann. She is an amazing activist who had caused real change in the United States and other places also with her activism and the rights for disabled people and access to facilities and places in society. What a great hero. And we mourn her passing and we celebrate her in power. We do. Let's see. Jimmy's saying he wishes he was in Florida right now. Yeah, I think a lot of us would be happy to be where Fiercey is right now. Let's see. Logical saying McGrady is in that half year of no Damon before Vince, but technically still had the years covered, just not the full 97-98 season. Project Truth correction. We got the first pick in 96, pushed to second in Camby. Okay, it was 96. It wasn't 98. Thank you for fixing me, Mike. I said 98. It was 96, the year we should have gotten Iverson. Instead, we got Camby. Yeah, and it was Iverson. That was the number one pick that we missed. And that was why it's so weird that we had our first huge major Eastern Conference playoff series against him, was the fact that he quite possibly should have been playing next to Vince, which is crazy. Just think if we had McGrady, Iverson, and Vince Carter, if we had been allowed to draft Iverson, that would have been insane. And that may be exactly why they had those rules and they did want us to be so good early. You know, Vancouver may have been drafting poorly early in their expansion years, but we weren't. No, we weren't. We were badasses at drafting. If Isiah Thomas had any strengths as the GM and running the Raptors, he was a very good drafter. Damon Stoudemire, Marcus Camby, Tracy McGrady. Yeah, those were home runs, all three of them. You think about those names, Damon Stoudemire, Marcus Camby, and Tracy McGrady. And yeah, and then we went and got Vince later. Yeah, we were in good shape. If we had Iverson instead of Camby, I don't know. A lot of things could have been different. So our injury report for tonight, for the Raptors, it's only Otto Porter as usual. Thank God. We should all be very grateful, honestly, that our injury list is very limited, and it's really just Delano day to day for the 905, and Otto Porter's out. Now, on the Nuggets side, there are some injuries, and we can talk about real quick. None of them primary guys, but some of the backup guys. Velato Kankar, Velato Kankar is questionable for the game today. It's his wrist. Thomas Bryant, who we're very familiar with from the Rico Hines runs last summer, who has just came to the Nuggets from the Lakers recently, is probable for today. It is his right ankle is sprained and he has a hip contusion, but they're saying he's probable, so he probably will play. And then they have guys that are out for sure that have long injuries. Zeke Naji and Colin Gillespie are out. Those guys are no names. Those are guys that the only one that really matters is Thomas Bryant, and he's a good one, and he probably will play. And their lineup is a lot different. They've got a Clipper and a Laker in it now. So let's go over the Nuggets lineup real quick. Of course, we've got the backcourt of Jamal Murray and KCP. Both really good three-point threats, really dangerous players. We need to contain them, watch out for them around the line. Michael Porter Jr. has been on fire and has been doing a lot of dangerous stuff also. Him and Aaron Gordon at the forwards. We know about Aaron Gordon. We want to contain him, and hopefully he doesn't do anything. And then, of course, Jokic in the middle, the focal point of their team, somebody that we're really going to have to maybe deny the ball, as you guys have been saying today. Their bench is interesting. They got Reggie Jackson from the Clippers, and he's recently came there. So it's going to be interesting to see. He hasn't been totally clicking with them yet. I think in the last game he played for them, he was 0 for 6 and didn't score. So hopefully he doesn't show up and starts playing well for them. Then they've got Bruce Brown and Jeff Green. So they got Brown and Green off the bench. These are vet guys. Jeff Green, a very, very vet guy. And then Christian Braun, I'm not even sure who he is. And then, of course, like I said, Thomas Bryant's day-to-day. He's their backup center. They do also have Ish Smith stashed down there and DeAndre Jordan as a backup center also. So that's the Nuggets team right now, how they look. There is a little bit of a mix around with Bryant and Jackson showing up from the LA teams. So they're a little bit different than they were from before. Very, very interesting stuff. All right, let me see. What else do I want to talk about? Well, let's just do the ref report for the main game. Guys, we have the most criminal ref in the league as our crew chief tonight. Scott Foster is the crew chief for the game for the Nuggets tonight. Scott Foster is in his 30th season as a referee in the NBA. He probably shouldn't have had this many seasons because we know his linkages to Tim Donaghy and the betting scandal. He is from Silver Spring, Maryland. He still lives in Maryland. He went to high school in Rockville. His favorite TV show is Shameless, but he also likes Ozark. He likes that movie with Mel Gibson where he's like William Wallace, Braveheart. His favorite musician is Michael Franti and Spearhead. His favorite book is Golf is Not a Game of Perfect. His favorite app is PGA Tour Live. He most like to visit Italy. His bucket list is to win gold at the U.S. Open Pickleball Championships. And his hidden talent is body surfing. Now, Scott Foster is weird. The last time he refereed a game for us, we won. And in some ways, I was kind of already saying, it was like, look, Scott, you want me to stop talking about you being a crooked ref? Well, let us win. Help us win, Scott. And it seemed like he did kind of give favor to the Raptors the last time we played when he was a ref, because we did win. So I don't know if we can win with Scott Foster as the ref again tonight. Maybe I'll continue to have good feelings for him and stop purporting that he is gambling on the games on the outside. So here we go. Maybe a little mafioso strong arming of Scott Foster is like, listen, you want me to shut up? Well, help us out. One hand washes the other, Scott Foster. So yeah, you listen to the Raptors freak, maybe help out the Raptors, and I'll shut up about all your gambling. He is. We win 44% of the time when Scott Foster is out there. He is the worst ref for us statistically tonight. And on the other side, the Nuggets only win 50%. So that split isn't that bad. 44-50, Scott Foster for the Nuggets. But yeah, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse. In fact, I'm surprised his record is 500 with them. It should be a lot higher. But yeah, he is the worst ref for us statistically today. Our second ref is Nick Buchert. He's in his 14th season out of Orlando, Florida. His favorite TV show is Game of Thrones. He also likes Walking Dead. His favorite movie is that one with Russell Crowe, where he is like, "Are you not entertained?" And he's like Maximus or whatever, or Gladiator. Yeah. His favorite musician is David Gray. His favorite book is October Sky. His favorite app is Bands in Town. He'd most like to visit Rome. And his bucket list is to attend the Super Bowl. Seems like you could be able to attend the Super Bowl pretty easy, Nick Buchert, if you're not working reffing a game that day. Why don't you just go to the Super Bowl, Nick Buchert? I mean, geez. Nick has participated in various community outreach programs in the Chicago area. He's also involved in March of Dimes of Chicago. So he's a nice guy. Nick Buchert is our favorite ref tonight, guys. We win 64% of the time. He is a top 10 ref, or not a top 10, but he's in the top 15 of refs for us in the whole entire league. 64% of the time. We did win the last game that he refereed for us, and the Nuggets win 61% of the time. So he actually favors us 64-61 for the Raptors, the second ref, Nick Buchert. And then Robert Hussey is the third ref. He's in his first season as a referee. He's from Queens, New York, but now lives in Orlando. His favorite TV show is Chappelle's Show. He likes the movie John Q, and he also likes Marvel movies. His favorite musician is the CBL's Scarborough Shooting Stars J. Cole. His favorite book is The Four Agreements. His favorite app is ESPN. He most liked to visit Iceland. His bucket list is to see the seven wonders of the world. Yes. He has been a G League ref and also a WNBA ref, Robert Hussey. Now, he is a very young ref. We win 50% of the time when he's around. We lost the last game he refereed. And the Nuggets win 67% of the time. So he very much favors the Nuggets. 50-67 for the Nuggets, Robert Hussey. Now, I did not tell you the foods, so let me go ahead and do that so Tom Duke can get it ready. First of all, let's get some G League food for John Conley. He needs some potato and pasta for the G League Ignite game, G League Ignite versus Raptors 905. Scott Foster is looking for some Maryland blue crabs and corn on the cob. So he's very specific. He wants his food from his local where he lives, Maryland blue crabs and corn on the cob. Nick Buchert would like a steak, just very general. Didn't even tell us how he wants it cooked. And then we got a whole list of things from Robert Hussey. He wants ackee, yellow yam, green banana, dumplings, and fried plantain. So there's the ref food for today, Tom. We need some potatoes and pasta. We need some Maryland blue crab and corn on the cob. We need steak. And then we need ackee, yellow yam, green banana, dumplings, and fried plantain. So the ref crew does favor the Nuggets. And Scott Foster is involved with the game tonight. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how he deals with things. Sometimes Scott Foster is very ornery, and he hurts the Western teams. We know his relationship with Chris Paul is very acrimonious and difficult. So maybe he has some acrimony with the Nuggets tonight. I'd love to see that. It's weird because they stash Scott Foster out on the West Coast. We don't see him on East Coast games very much these days. So when we get him as a ref, it's always because we're out West. because I think he's only working Western Conference games for the most part. So very interesting stuff. Alistair saying we really need Koloko now, so I think they should bring him back up and sub in for Poeltl. I'm not totally against this idea in some ways, but in some ways I am. In some ways, he's not going to get the kind of reps that he's getting at 905 right now that are amazing. You got to watch the 905 games, Alistair. And in some ways, he's going to really help that team get in the playoffs. And that'll be good for him, like character building wise, and have those feelings. It's like when Chris went down there and he was the G League MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, and he had such a good time down there playing. That was important to his development. Pascal and those guys win in the G League championship a few years ago. Koloko needs to go the same route as Norman, Jakob, Fred, Pascal, Chris Boucher, Delano, all these guys. And he is exactly where he needs to be. And that's Mississauga playing against the G League Ignite tonight. We've got Precious. I know a lot of people really want to see him be the backup, and he will be probably more next year. But for this stretch run, we really do need him split in 905. It's just much better for his progress. Trust me. But I mean, listen, I think once again, I'll stand up for Precious as the backup center. He can do it. And I think he's been doing fine. It's just that his numbers don't look as good recently. G saying, imagine when Koloko is really ready and playing at the same time as Jakob. Good luck getting into the net. That is actually really badass to think about, G. Having them on the court at the same time would be nasty. It may be a little similar to Porzingis and Gafford after we saw them recently, that double center lineup with two guys that are just like nasty like that. Yeah, I'd love to see this kind of look at some point for sure. Mike's saying the first 4 Raptors draft picks played like 70 years combined in the league. Yeah, we hit on our first 4 draft picks for sure. Damon, Camby, McGrady, and VC. Yes, you got the Mick in there finally. See, Mike's in development. He's developing and showing progress already. And you called him Damon. Yes, thank you, Mike. Like if you just put the word mighty in there, I'm like, what does he mean, mighty? He means Mighty Mouse. Okay. Tom Duke's got the food. There's the potato and pasta for John Conley. There's a crab and corn cob for Scott Foster. And it looks like there's like food. There's food for Robert Hussey, but I don't see Nick Buchert's steak. Don't blame the chef. Where's the steak, Tom? You got to get the steak for Nick. Nick's our favorite ref. He's the one you want to get. If you're not going to get anybody, it should be Scott Foster, but not Nick Buchert. He's our favorite one. He's the nicest guy on the ref crew for us. You better get that steak for him. All right. I guess we'll do the Real Mascot Matchup. All right. The last time we saw the Real Mascot, he's on the road walking down the highway, and he's got a new friend, a travel companion, Will, too. And his name's Will. He calls himself a wizard. He has very brightly colored clothes on, and he says he's a holistic healer, Eastern medicine. And he wants to help the Raptor because he went through a windshield and he got beat up by the Cavalier nurse. And he's trying to help him, like, get healthy, feel better, but it's not working. He's touching him. He's like, this is stupid. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing? And he has a yak. Will the wizard, he's walking a yak on a leash. And it's a full-size, like, big yak. It's like the size of a car, honestly. So it's like if anybody comes up behind them on the road, they'll have to drive into the other lane to go around them. It's almost like it's a tractor, a slow-moving tractor on the highway, except it's a yak. In fact, they may need to put one of those little triangle signs on its tail on the back. But anyway, they're continuing to walk down the road, and the wizard's not healing him. He's trying to heal him, but it's like it didn't help. And then he's like, you know what? I'm going to try a different thing. And the Raptors kind of thinking, this guy's a flim-flam, man. This guy's like full of shit. He's not really a healer. He's just like a crazy guy. And he's starting to think that. Well, all of a sudden, Will decides, listen, come here a little closer to me right here next to the yak. He's like, what? What are you trying to do? And then all of a sudden, the yak opens its mouth and its tongue like licks the Raptor across the face and around, like there's a cut on his face from the windshield. And the yak licks him, and it actually does some healing to him. It's like really weird. This time it actually like helped. And he's like, wait, that kind of actually felt like it helped. It was gross. And it's kind of like, what are you doing? And the yak's tongue is like giant because he's just like, it's like a truck. Seriously, it's a big yak. And So the saliva of the yak, it's kind of like, I guess, like dogs have like weird saliva too. That's kind of, can be helpful in healing ways or something like that. Well, the yak has super healing powers, and it actually did help kind of heal the cut on his face. The raptor, he's like, wow, this is kind of interesting. Maybe you guys do have some sort of like restorative powers or something. He's like, yeah, it's not me, it's the yak. So he's actually happy about this. So, well, they're kind of just moving along, and let me see, what am I going to do here? The yak is, it's a big animal, and it kind of like leaves stuff behind. You know what I mean? Yeah, like you have mounted police in the city with horses. You know what happens on the street? Yeah, there's nuggets. Nuggets. They get left on the street behind the horses. Well, Will the Wizard's like, this is another thing that can really heal you. And he goes back to behind the yak, and he picks up a nugget of doo doo, and he's like, let me use this. And the raptor's like, no, 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 no. Seriously, let me try this on some of your cuts. And he's like, no, no. All right, that's the cliffhanger. Well, what's going to happen is the raptor going to let Will the Wizard use the yak butt nuggets, like doo-doo nuggets, to try and heal his wounds further. Because Will the Wizard says that this will help too. And the raptor's very like not thinking that it will. And it's just gross. So we're going to have to find out next time on the Real Mascot Matchup if doo-doo nuggets will heal the raptor further. Why did I do that? Why did I turn the nuggets into doo-doo? Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. All right. All right. All right. Tom's sent a beer with the steak for Nick Buchert. Good stuff. Good stuff. We got to make sure we get the right ref. Monique saying, Lex, did you know Brandon Clark was supposed to participate for Team Canada? Torn Achilles. Yikes. Yikes. That is scary. I don't like that. I hope, well, we've got so many good Canadian players. Some people are saying that Dylan's not going to play for us either. But yeah, I hate to hear that. I really do. Rapslove came in at the wrong time during the Real Mascot Matchup. He's like, what the fuck is he talking about? What? He's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, you just caught the Real Mascot Matchup in the middle of it. Wraps up. Tom Duke saying the Real Mascot Matchup, a fluid drama correlates with Raptors season. I'm trying to make it correlate. I mean, it is kind of a dreamscape. This yak and like the Will, the Wizard, and like, is he going to help us? We'll have to see, So David's saying those horses take the biggest dumps wherever they want, and the police don't even stop to pick it up. Insanity. I know. Let's talk about this real quick, David. I didn't know we'd have this subject, but let's go ahead. They always want us to curb our dogs. They don't want us dogs just leaving dog shit all over the sidewalk, but these horses can just pile up shit all over our streets. Yeah, that's a little bit. They're like, we are above the law with our dookie. Yes, we do not have to follow the law. We are the police. We have big dookies from our horses. I know I'm getting real gross today, but I mean, this is true, David. They never have to clean up after themselves, do they? They don't ever have that little guy in the white hat and the overalls with the little sweep. He doesn't come behind and just sweep up all the horse doo-doo from the horses walking around in Toronto. Yeah, mounted police. We know about all this. I go down to CNE and I smell those stables of all the horse dookie down there. Yeah, when I'm trying to go to the exhibition place. And yeah, I know that's where all them horses putting on them doo-doo nuggets all over the city are living in there. Yeah, Tom Duke is laughing at this. Yeah, things are getting a little shitty on the stream this morning. Yeah, David's laughing at him. Tom's got the pink doo-doo and the Raptors out there. Okay. The Nuggets. He's got the 5 pink doo-doo nugget lineup versus the 5 Raptor lineup. Amazing. Tom Duke is like, he's getting a trophy from David with, I like David's little emoticon language too. He's speaking Tom's language. And David's saying that's exactly where I was getting at. Thanks, Lex. David, I'm right. Let's fight the power. Let's come down on them. They're saying defund the police. Well, let's get them to clean up their own shit first. Yeah, y'all need to clean up your own shit from your horses. Yeah. David's saying, yes, exactly. The professional white horse dumper picker upper. The little guy, he has a little mustache. And he comes out and he's like, and he like sweeps it up real quick. And then he takes off. Yeah, sometimes he has a garbage can on like wheels or something. He's always in like cartoons. You know what I'm talking about. All right. Okay. All right. Let's get serious again. All right. Let me do a recap real quick. Is there anything else I want to talk about? Just first of all, one thing I want to really get across to you guys. You guys, if you're on Facebook, you need to follow Jakob Poeltl. I'm sorry. You just need to because Jakob is just like Monique. After every single game, Jakob does a write up after the Raptors games and talks about how he feels the Raptors played. And it really is a window to what he cares about and what he sees the Raptors doing well or not doing well. Like I'll take for example, this is what he wrote after the win over the Wizards on Saturday night. He says 116 to 109 overtime win at the Washington Wizards. Great effort on defense, forced them into 24 turnovers, and our bench gave us huge energy. We struggled a little in the fourth quarter, but kept our composure and executed very well in overtime. JP 19 Toronto Raptors. And then he writes it all in Austrian. Zignac Verlagergrug in Washington. Grober Einsatz in der Defense hat sie zu 24 Balverlusten Guzwigen und unser Bank braucht super energy. yeah. See, but I'm just saying, if you guys are not following Jakob Poeltl on Facebook, find him, put it in the search, and follow him just for the great write-ups at the end of the night, and maybe you'll even learn some Austrian. I think I just butchered Austrian just now, very badly. Yeah. Let's see. Blackhawks saying go Raps. I can double down with that. Let's go Raptors. Let's prove them wrong. Let's show them that the impossible is possible. Nobody thinks we're going to beat the Nuggets tonight. They're the number one team in the Western Conference. This is how you make a name for yourself. John Morant waves guns around. Somebody wants to make a name for themselves, they may go shoot him. Well, the Raptors want to make the name for themselves. They need to beat the Denver Nuggets tonight. And that's what I'm saying. We want to make a name for ourselves. We want to take somebody out that's in the spotlight, that's on top, a top dog in this league. That is how you make a name for yourself. You go into jail, you want to make a name for yourself, go take the big man out in the lunchroom, and then you'll get instant respect. And that's what we need to do. The big man's name is Nikola. And we need to go take a pencil and stab him in the neck, in the bathroom, in the prison. I'm really getting really crazy on this stream today, obviously. Monique would like to see more pick and roll, please. Yeah, why not? I mean, maybe. Do they play, does Denver guard the pick and roll really well? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not with Jokic out there. Let's see. Mike's saying, I've been to where they keep the Toronto police horses. The stables are near the CNE. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Where Animal Services is too, in that large complex. Yak report after game segment regularly. Yeah. You want me to do that? I could start doing that. I'll try and just do it in Austrian. And if you don't know Austrian, won't know what I'm saying. I won't know what I'm saying either. But yeah, Yak report's fun. Eh? You like the Yak report? Yak report. Yeah. So all right. I think I'm done. I told y'all about fake Delano. Yeah, don't follow fake Delano. It's Don1. That is not him. He followed me, and he probably wants me to believe that that's Delano Banton. Maybe I should write him a message and say, "Hey, Delano, we're really rooting for you tonight," or something like that. Maybe should I write a message to Don, the fake Don here? I don't know. That's not. Let's just wrap it up. All right, guys. The injuries for tonight. Don is day to day for the G League game against the Ignite team today. That's going to be fun. Seeing G League Ignite, Scoot Henderson, Leonard Miller at 7:30, Paramount Fine Food Center. Go Raptors 905. Keep your win streak intact and beat this team. They're actually not a very good team. The G League Ignite has a losing record this season, so we should be able to beat them. And then, of course, tonight, the Nuggets, the main event. And yeah, we can make a name for ourselves by taking them out. We can get some shine. We can get more respect from within our Raptors nation if we beat the number one team in the West. And that's all good to me, good and gravy. Of course, we want to win for major reasons, but in that effect, could really, really help us in the information war within Raptors Nation right now. If the Raptors can knock off the top Western team, I'm all about that. Yeah, I'm all about it. David has got the cup out. I love it. I love it. The referees for today for the G League game are John Conley, Jenna Renault, and Catherine Chang. And then for the Raptors game in Denver, it's Scott Foster as the crew chief, Nick Buchert, and Robert Hussey. All right, guys. I guess that's it. I'll wrap it up now. It's good. Thank you. Like Spike. Nice. I like it. Hey, thanks, David. Have a great day. Do your day like a Raptors would. Raptorize it. Just like Nav says, I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't womanize. I raptorize. So let's raptorize our day today, just like Nav Bhatia would, and enjoy it and have a good time. Do it with excellence. Do it with pride. Do it the way that the Raptors, you want to see the Raptors put the energy on the court. You be that kind of model in your own life. And hopefully that will all add to it somehow, some way. Yeah, good effort tonight, Raptors, and out rebound them, outshoot them, do everything, out beat them. Just kick their ass. And it will look really, really good to the whole NBA world tomorrow if you can. So hopefully this will happen. We have nothing to lose. Everybody expects us to lose to them tonight. So let's go out there and fucking show them that something they didn't expect. That's what I want to see. All right. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will be back here tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be partying tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, partying because of a very fantastic big win. Maybe even the biggest win of the season so far. That's what I'm hoping for. So let's go Raptors. Thank you, Monique. Let's keep climbing. I hear you. Alistair's saying, look at how different our defense is when Yak is off the floor. Yeah. But, that is how bad our defense has been all season, Alistair, in some ways. And it's not like Koloko will fix all of that just himself. I understand what you're saying. You want that blocking presence on the court all the time. Well, in some ways, we can't do that exactly yet, but it will come within time. Trust me. Thank you, David. Thank you, Jimmy. W's for you, Tom Duke. Thank you for all the help you do on this channel to help me out. I really do appreciate you, Tom. All right, guys, have a great day, and let's go Raptors. Let's beat those Nuggets. Let's stomp on those Nuggets. Oh, wait, they smell. Oh, gross.